Well, hello everybody. I am Nate from the Kraemer Life.
And Katie.
Also from the Kraemer Life. And today we're going to do
our June update.
In the month of July.
Yeah,
that's how we do it.
Yeah.
We kind of have this sectioned into the good parts.
And the bad parts.
Yeah, we're keeping it real. June was... Rough, yes.
June was not a solid month. It was probably our most trying so far that we've had homesteading, so.
So we're going to keep it real.
Yeah. So we're going to share the good. We're going to start with that.
Let's start with the good.
And kind of some of the projects that we worked on. And by we, I mean him. I worked a lot in June. June was a very, very, very busy month for me.
Also a very trying month for you.
Very trying month for me for work as well. Most of my days were between 12 and 14-hour days on the computer, so.
Yeah, and we're filming this the day before you leave on a 2-week road trip.
Yep.
For work.
For work.
Yeah.
So we're hoping after, when I get home in August, that things will start to settle a little bit, but
yeah,
it was definitely tough on all fronts in June, so.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's start with the good. In the month of June, we did a few kind of infrastructure improvements, is how I would call it.
Yeah.
We built this pig waterer, 50-gallon drum pig waterer and pig scratching post apparently.
Yep.
And it didn't take long for the pigs to figure out how to use the water. What's going on?
He had his butt in the air. Sorry, that was cute.
It's really nice not having to come out here multiple times a day and fill up their watering bucket that Mo just tossed around. Because what would happen is I'd fill it up and then just immediately dump it and then create their mud wallow. They've also figured out that they can kind of use the watering nipple to drain the water and create a nice little mud hole right in front of the pig water. So they really like it. Like I said, they like to use it as a scratching post. And so my original design wasn't nearly sturdy enough. And yeah, Katie and I were outside. I think we were working on, I don't know, we were doing something out here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we hear this crash, and we looked over, and the 50-gallon barrels rolling down the hill, splashing water, barely missed.
It was right after you filled it. You were refilling it.
That's what it was.
And the hose was still in it.
That's right. Yep.
And it barely missed our pumpkins.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
We would have smashed everything, but thankfully it rolled into. It only crushed a plastic flower pot. Outside of that, no damage.
No damage. Yeah.
Besides the stand didn't make it.
So I rebuilt it, added a couple more support brackets and braces, and we're good. The other thing we did is I built a
sheep shelter. We did, just for you.
Yeah, this was a super simple build, and it's really easy to move. I thought I was going to use a rope to kind of pull it along, but I actually ended up taking that off. I just grab it by the cattle panel and drag it around.
All 4 of them do fit in about half to 3/4 of it, so there's still plenty of room.
Mm-hmm. They tend to kind of all huddle into that little corner where the
flap.
Yeah, the tarp is on its side. So I thought maybe I would make that a little bit bigger so they have a little bit more room.
So we put this one little part of the tarp down more so for rain coverage, so if the rain was coming in sideways, they could still have a dry spot. But it seems like they do like that side of it because they can still see out on the other side, and they do still have some room. So all in all, I think it was a huge win. It was only about, what, 10, 15 bucks?
It was, I think it was like $35 altogether. We also had to deworm them. All sheep have worms. Mm-hmm. It's just a natural part of, I guess, life. And what we found out is that the worms, the eggs and the larvae and stuff, they really are kind of dormant inside their bodies, except for when the sheep kind of go through a stressful phase, whether it's temperature related, moving, like when they moved onto our homestead, giving birth, anything that kind of stresses their body out gives the eggs and the larvae a chance to grow and to do the worming things that worms do. We did a bunch of research, and we're trying to find ways to deworm them as naturally as we could. And there was a lot of suggestions for using garlic.
Yep.
And It turns out that garlic is a very good natural dewormer. There was a big study by a university years and years ago that proved that garlic is just as effective as some of the commercial dewormers. There was a couple methods that we could have used to give them garlic. One was a drench style method. We didn't have that, and
we didn't want to stress them out by catching them either.
Yeah, they weren't nearly as acclimated to us as they are now. They didn't like to be around us. They're still pretty skittish. So we were a little hesitant in chasing them down and using a drench to deworm them. So what we ended up doing was buying some molasses and taking a tablespoon of garlic powder, some molasses, and mixing it into their alfalfa pellets. Coated it really, really well and gave it to them. And now at first they wanted nothing to do with it. They smelled it, they're like, oh no.
Toxic.
Yeah, gross. So I just put it into their feeding bowl and let it be, and came back the next morning and it was gone. So they ended up eating it. And we repeated that, I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, which is kind of the recommended cycle. And they did it again. They ate it faster this time, but still didn't eat it right away. And I would say that actually worked really, really well.
Yeah, we haven't seen any worms. Their stool is normal, the little droplets. It's not diarrhea, it's not large amounts. They seem healthy. We don't have any what I would consider worm activity. And we give them treats. The alfalfa is treats, but their primary food source is the woods. That's their food. So that's why we're moving them, and as the grass grows down and things, and we're moving them to different areas and different sections and giving them more space to ensure they have plenty of food at all times. What?
I'm recording your reaction as we walk through this.
Oh.
Because you haven't seen this.
I've seen it on video.
I know, but you haven't seen it in person.
It smells better.
Yes.
It's a huge, huge difference. This room is so big.
Yes.
This is cool. Is this where you were thinking the freezer, or at that side?
Over here, because the doorway's in our way. I mean, I guess we could do this area and make it a smaller freezer.
I was just thinking like...
It doesn't have to be huge, I guess.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, that would work, because I could cut it out.
Yeah.
Cut it out there.
And then you could vent it out even, if needed.
It's a window-mounted AC unit, so it would stick out, just like, so it'd be there.
Yeah, and that'd just be under the porch. Yeah, I was thinking the freezer would be over here.
Okay.
Because then that way you don't have to hide these windows.
Yeah, those windows have to be redone because they leak.
Oh, okay.
So let's head in there. I'll show you how it looks.
Hi, pretty girl.
What do you think?
Nice. It looks like brand new wood.
Yeah, doesn't it?
That's crazy. Yeah, it did not, I mean...
No, it was
black.
Pitch black.
Yep.
So this is another thing that we tackled. When I say we, I mean me. Which I don't know if the lighting's right here. Is lot more work on the crawl space. So it's all cleaned out. I used the mold remover, stain remover, and then the disinfectant. And then I cleaned off all of the ground and all of the debris out of here. And so now I'm ready to, I'm going to do one more spray of the disinfectant and cleaner. I'm going to use the ultra low volume sprayer that I have, get a really good coating of it all over, and then I'm going to lay down the plastic and put the dehumidifier in here. I plan to do that this week when
I'm gone.
Yeah, this week and next week, yeah. So huge difference.
Huge difference. You can breathe in here, and it doesn't smell like a musty, moldy, nasty, disgusting, wet walk-in crawl space. It's not really, I mean, it's kind of, it's like the biggest crawl space I've ever seen. But yeah, it's nice. This is way better.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, well, let's go talk about the bad.
Okay.
You want to tell the story?
Oh boy.
Timeline.
So, not sure exact dates, but basically what started happening is we noticed some of the baby chickens, they were about a month old. Well, we noticed that one was missing, just no sign of it, just gone. And we noticed that at night, and so we're like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. something probably got it, but we had no idea what it was at that point. We did see a lot of feathers around, so we figured it got eaten or taken, but we didn't know by what. So we put everyone up, made sure to lock everyone up in the coop at night. We brought the little ones, I think we were still bringing them back in at that point, at night.
We were putting them in the coop.
Okay, we were putting them in, at that point they were going in the coop with the rest.
And then we would close the coop.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep, and then so the following day, this time I think during the day, one went missing. And that one to us was a little odd. Again, one of the, I mean, they were only a month old, so very small chicks still. And so we made the determination that we didn't want to continue to lose chicks, so we moved them. They were in a very wide, big open area.
Yeah, with one tree that had cover with some small twigs and stuff that they could hide in.
And so we moved them to where they are currently, that had a ton of cover, a ton of vines, just because, again, we weren't sure what was picking them off, and we wanted to see if maybe this, having a little bit more protection would help them, because we didn't have a lot of other areas that we could put them in, and we didn't have a large enclosure we could put them in that would be easy. We had noticed that Lucky, our rooster, hadn't been crowing a whole lot, and he had been lethargic.
He had been kind of panting.
Yeah.
But it had been really hot days. So we attributed it to the heat.
Because the girls were panting too. And we just thought, okay, he's overheated, he's hot. So we put some water bowls out. We dipped all their feet in the water bowls to show them that they could lay down if they were too hot. We had additional water sources. They had probably 3 drinking areas, all in the shade. And again, a lot of shaded area, because it was very, very hot here and very humid. So we noticed progressively that Lucky looked like he was getting a little sicker. He started to kind of sit down more. We noticed he wasn't, he was still trying to protect and he was still trying to help, but he definitely wasn't feeling well.
Yeah, so this is the point. A little bit before that, I started the regimen of giving him Vet RX drops, both orally, and we put it all in their water so everybody had access.
And we also give, apple cider vinegar,
garlic.
and garlic. So we do some preventative measures anyway with all of our animals, but we didn't know what was going on because he seemed to be getting worse and none of the other birds continued to pant. So at that point, what we were trying wasn't working, so we made a vet appointment and we took him into the vet.
Yeah, there was a small period where he started getting better. He actually started crowing again, so we thought that he was on the recovery.
Yeah, on the mend.
But then it went downhill again.
Yep, so took him into the vet, and unfortunately, while we were at the vet's office, before the doctor even was able to come and look at him, he started flailing and he died.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, so it was a combination of him not being well, and the transportation.
Stress of transport, probably.
Yeah, but it really came down to he was pretty sick.
Yeah.
The Vet RX and other things just wasn't working, and we knew that he needed that antibiotic stuff to get rid of, which we thought was upper respiratory.
Yeah, because he was at that point. You could hear it.
Yeah.
And so we took him to the vet, and they wouldn't just give us the antibiotics, and we didn't have access to it, so we had to take him in to be seen. Yeah. Or we didn't want to transport him, but that was kind of what we had to do to get him what we felt was the medicine to help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad because we liked Lucky. He was a very good rooster. And it's our first bird that was having some serious issues, and so it's that decision of, it's natural. Do you help them the best you can, and if he passes, he passes, or do you spend the extra money and take him to the vet and do all those things, knowing that it's just part of the livestock? And so we wanted to do everything we could for Lucky, and unfortunately it didn't work out, and so he passed, which is sad. He was a good bird. So that kind of led up to the fact that now the chickens are even more exposed. So we started doing some more preventative measures to try to ward off which we now know to be aerial predators. We thought it was a hawk, but we believe it's a falcon.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah. So we did things like
It's a party.
we did things like we built a scarecrow. Actually, Katie built a scarecrow. We put up a bunch of runner lines to kind of make more of a divergent for the birds just to kind of swoop down and come into the area and pick up the birds.
We had decoys, so we have owl and hawk decoys. And then
You put up this VCR tape as stringers to kind of have
make
flashy
movement.
But we still
were losing birds.
yeah,
We lost, I think, 2 more
to aerial predator.
to aerial predator. We
Yeah,
lost
the same hawk, really.
falcon. Yeah.
Falcon, yeah.
Yep. And we know that his roost is, like, his tree is just right over here. So he's a couple hundred yards maybe away, and we can hear him.
So what we ended up doing, besides the decoys and the stringers and all the things to visually make a barrier for the falcon, I noticed that it was happening early in the morning. So we started putting them up in their coop every night, and I would wait until about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning before I let all of them out, thinking that the falcon would have been done with its morning routine of trying to find food. And
That seemed to help.
that really did seem to help.
Yep.
But then something else happened.
So we have 4 stages of chickens. We have our original 8 hens that we had, and we had Lucky, so we had our older ones. And then we had what we're referring to as our juveniles, that they are almost right now as big as our hens, so they're good size. And then we had the month-old ones that we said were getting picked off by aerial predators. And then we also had 3 little new hatchlings that were only in June, they were only a couple days old.
Yeah, at most. Yeah.
So we have, all of these varying sizes of chickens.
So at this point we had the 3 hatchlings. We had 1 left over, smaller one that was about a month old, 1 remaining.
Remaining, yes.
And then the juveniles, which there were 8 of them.
Correct.
And then our 8 original hens and no more Lucky.
And so we started, like we said, we're locking them up at night. We're not letting them out. We've added all of these distractions. We're trying, everything that and then the wind chime was another thing, trying to add some more noise into it. Trying to have the dogs around a lot more, trying to check on them physically so there's more activity around them. So we tried to do all of these different things. And then it was probably pretty late at night, like 9 or 10, like 10, 10:30. Just when I say late at night, like dark.
Yeah, right before I was going to put them up, we started hearing some massive ruckus inside the coop. So we rush outside as fast as we can.
No, they were put up. They were shut because he got in through the side, I think.
This is the second one.
Oh, that was the
first
second one. Oh boy.
We go out there. I go out there. I run out there, and there's a black snake that had gotten one of the 3 baby chicks, the olive egger baby chick. It was already in its mouth, and I grabbed the black snake and I tried to get the baby chick out. It was already dead by that point, but I didn't know. I'm yelling for Katie. Katie comes running out, and I was like, "Get it out! Get it out!" And
I'm like, "It's gone, babe."
Yeah, so it got one of the baby chicks.
Yep.
So
we put the snake in a bag.
Yep. And
we went ahead and let it eat.
Yeah, it was at that point it was dead. So we put the snake in the bag, we put the baby chick in the bag, and later the next morning I took the snake all the way at the end of the property across our creek, and I hopefully rehomed it, thinking that would deter it.
Yep. And we were good for a couple days.
2 days.
2 days, a couple days, few days.
2 days go by. I put them up like I had been doing. Came out. This is now the 3rd morning. I came out, and
the runt of the juveniles.
The runt of the 1-month-old, the 1 remaining one.
Oh no, we missed one. Because one of the juveniles got eaten before the baby and the other one.
Oh, that's right. It was one of the 8 juveniles, which is the smallest of them. That's right. So before the black snake event,
Yeah, we had one more.
Yeah, the falcon got the smallest of the 8 juveniles. So now we're down to 7 juveniles.
7 juveniles. We had 1 remaining of the month-old.
Yep.
And then we had 3 of the babies. So the black snake came in, ate 1 of the babies. And so we had 2 babies, 1 month-old, and 7 juveniles.
Yep.
And then our 8 hens.
So now this is the 3rd morning of being safe with the black snake and the falcons. And I open up the coop and all the chickens are looking at me petrified. And I look down and there's a black snake, I think it's the same one, engorged. It had eaten the last of the 1-month-old
Yeah.
chickens, which was probably that big.
Yeah, good size. So at this point, we're at a complete loss. Like,
So we had been putting the chickens up, locking them in their coop to keep them safe from aerial predators in the morning, but the black snake was able to get into the coop
at night.
and they couldn't get out.
Yep, 'cause after they ate, they were too big to get out the way they came.
Well, the chickens couldn't get out. They couldn't
that's
escape.
true.
So they were boxed in, and the snake had free range of what it wanted.
Yep.
So in the end, we lost
All 5.
5 1-month-old chickens.
Yep, all 5 of those.
1 baby chick
Of the 3.
and 1
Of the 8.
of the 8 juveniles.
So 7
And
birds. And lucky. So we lost 8 birds.
We lost 8 birds.
And just not even a 2-week period, I think.
That's pretty demoralizing, quite honestly. It was like we're trying everything we can, other than building a coop, a stationary coop with a run that is fully fenced in, wired in.
Fort Knox.
Yeah, which we may have to do.
Yeah, and we just didn't have, I mean, it's, you come into time and resources, right?
Yep.
And, you know, people are like, well, why didn't you do that? Well, because we didn't have the time to build it. We didn't have the resources to spend the $900 to buy it. So it's kind of one of those where
You do the best you can with the time you have, because it was happening on a daily basis.
yeah, we had we'd go out and we'd like, okay, what do we do? So every day we enhanced. We got scare tape, we got VHS tape, like we finally feel like the aerial predators are wary of this area, and we haven't had that, so now it's the snake issue. And I mean, short of taking the snake all the way to the river, because that's our only option, that is our absolute farthest point, now it's a waiting of...
But we can't even, the farthest point of the property to the river, we can't even access right now.
Right. So it's, you know, we're going as far back as we possibly can and rehoming the snake and just praying that he doesn't come back, or it's long enough and the birds are big enough. Because now...
Yeah. Other than the 2 baby chicks?
Yeah, everyone's of size to where it's no longer an issue. So the juveniles are now big enough that we don't really feel a huge threat from an aerial perspective or a snake perspective.
Yep.
Now it's just our 2 little baby chicks. Yeah, so that's where we're at, and it was very tough, because we know death is part of a homestead. We're not naive to that fact.
You want to do everything you can,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's just out of your control. And so it's hard to accept that fact.
Yeah. So I think that was pretty frustrating for us, trying to deal with that and, you know, make sure the other animals are still okay, and, you know, give the chickens a lot more attention. But what we have left is doing very well.
Besides the fact that they're giving us between 1 and 3 eggs a day. That's it.
Yeah.
And right now they're still in their moment.
Yeah,
Shocked.
I think they've had a lot of loss and a lot of mourning after we lost Lucky. Definitely the 8 older hens had a period of we weren't getting any eggs. They were just kind of searching around, I think. Definitely looking for them and sensing something was wrong. But all right, so again, we just want to thank everyone for your support, your generosity, reaching out to us via email, commenting, liking our videos, watching our videos. We really appreciate it. We do. That's how the channel can stay going is by you all, so thank you so much. We actually were able to meet some folks that purchased one of the properties that we searched at, and they saw our video and they wanted to thank us for the video, and they absolutely love the property. They've been on it for about 9 months, I believe. So that was really cool to hear. So that's very exciting for us that, you know, that was the whole reason we put the content out there is, you know, it may not have worked out for us, but so thankful that somebody else found it and, you know, loved the place. So that's awesome. We've got some amazing gifts that came through our Amazon wish list. So again, thank you so much for everyone who sent us stuff. Okay, so we're gonna start with a chainsaw sharpening kit and also a 5-pack of gloves. The nitrile gloves, we love those. Those come in handy. Thank you so much, Heather. We really appreciate it. And then we also got 4 more packs of gloves, the same gloves, which we really appreciate. Thank you so much, Colette. Colette also wanted to send us all the stuff to get us ready for making the bacon. So we got the hanging weight scale. We also got the game hanging gambrel.
Oh, the gambrel?
Yep. And then we got a couple different types of scrapers from her as well. There's the redneck scraper and also the other, it's a stainless steel pig scraper. We got the meat hooks. Then we also got a field dressing kit.
This?
Yep. Which is also going to help with some of the processing. So thank you so much, Colette. But then she also wanted to beautify our land as well, so she got us the wildflower seeds. We want to make sure that we're adding back some pollinating, so as our animals are clearing out the land down the driveway, want to make sure that we're reintroducing wildflowers. And then also got us some new chainsaw blades because we're also cleaning out the smaller trees as we go by. So thank you again, Colette. That was very, very sweet. Danny was able to send us these knobs for our cabinets in our remodel. We will be using those in August. Once I'm back from work travel, we're going to be working on the house. So those are going to be coming in handy here very shortly. And then that was, oh, we got one other item. This one didn't have a note on it, but I love it. I love my fun signs. We have done some canning. I made some pickled beets, and also we took some berries from the land and also made some jams with those. So thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate it. So that was kind of one way to wrap up the good of this video. So the good, kind-hearted viewers that we have, we appreciate it all. Please make sure to like our videos, put a comment, share them. We really appreciate it. So thank you all so much.